folk horror, ghosts, murder, and temptation. Today we're going to talk about my past, present, and future of books, what I've finished, what I'm in the middle of, and what we're getting into. First up, I recently finished the book The Burial Tide by Neil Sharpson. It is a folk horror. It takes place on an island that is off the coast of Ireland. One might say maybe the island's kind of cursed. Didn't used to be, but things have definitely gotten worse there in current days. You come into it kind of like it goes off with a bang. There's a woman crawling out of her grave. There's a crazy rainstorm. She claws her way out. She doesn't have any memory of who she is, where she came from, or anything. She wakes up, she gets out of there, she's covered in mud, and she's scared, and she's traumatized, and she's ravenously hungry. And so she sees a light on further down the road, and she goes and she breaks into this like random guy's house, and she starts eating all the food in his fridge. And he comes downstairs and confronts her, and he's like, first of all, he sees this mud-covered woman, but then he recognizes her. And he's like, yeah, because you're supposed to be dead, because she says some stuff. I don't remember the full conversation. And so it goes from there. Who is this woman? Why are there all these weird island secrets that people won't talk about? And it seems like this woman, Mara, is being fed a BS story. Like the island doctor's telling her, the doctor's like, hey, what was your mother's name? And she's like, she gives her a list, and she's like, Mara points to one, and the doctor's like, yep, that's it. And it seems like she's being fed a bunch of lies. And so she has to uncover the truth and what's going on with these lies and what is up. And then there's also these weird, like, creatures that lurk in the trees that apparently are murdering the sheep. And sometimes they murder people. And then there's all this weird lore and stuff surrounding the island. You get just a crazy, weird isolation, dark, disturbing horror. This pacing is steady. The lore is quite fantastic. I kind of guessed what was going on with the lore, at least along the lines of like what was going on with Mara. My first experience of the author, Neil Sharpson, awesome. Okay, so currently I'm in the middle of The Girl with a Thousand Faces by Sunyi Dean. There's this woman, Mercy Chan. She washes up on the shores of Hong Kong, and she finds her way to the ghost-infested slum of the city of Kowloon, which is the walled city. And it's where most of the ghosts have been pushed from, like, the other places in society. They've kind of, like, pushed them to all be in this one area. Mercy wakes up. She has no memory of who she is or where she came from. She has this affinity and ability to talk to ghosts. Through that, she's able to form a life, make her way and have a place to live and call home. And she came there with nothing and was able to find a place in this ghost-infested city. But she still does not remember who she is or was before and what had happened to her. And so it's a story of finding out that, but then she also encounters this other very powerful ghost. And this ghost is drowning and strangling people, and it possesses their bodies and uses their bodies until it doesn't have a use for them, then discards them. And Mercy has to figure out why. And it seems that this ghost has a somehow tie to Mercy's past, but she doesn't know in the beginning, but she eventually gets closer to finding this out. It's a fantastic read so far. I had read one other book by this author, and that was The Book Eaters. I think I read that maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I do have a standalone review for that one, and I will link that down below. And I'm really enjoying this one so far. It's weird, it's eerie, there's ghosts. There's a crazy twist in it that I did not see in any way, shape, or form coming. Well, here's the weird thing about it, though. It starts out with a bang. It's like action, in your face, here we go. And then it kind of screeches to a halt and turns into this slow burn story as you get into like the history and what was going on. And it's always interesting, but I think it threw me off a little. Like when you start right into action and then you pull back the reins and you start going kind of like slowly, that was a little jarring for me, but I still am really enjoying this book. So I just wanted to also mention that in case other people have had a similar experience like that where you're like, oh dang, whoa, because like the first couple pages are like, what the F? And then it chills out a little bit and then it gets weird. You get that whole backstory of her growing up, her family history, and a bunch of stuff. So far so good. Looking forward to reading more of this one. Okay, so now let me tell you what I'm gonna get into. All right, next up we have How to Commit a Post-Colonial Murder by Nina McConnelly. So what's this book about? Murder? Let's tell you about it. Summer, 1986. The Creel sisters, Georgie Iyer and Agatha Krishna, welcome their aunt, uncle, and young cousin, newly arrived from India, into their house in rural Wyoming, where they're all gonna live together. That is until the girls decide that it's time for their uncle to die. According to Georgie, the British are to blame, and to understand why, you need to hear her story. She details the violence hiding in their house and history, her once unshakable bond with Agatha Krishna, and her understanding of herself as an Indian American in the heart of the West. Her account is, at every turn, cheeky, unflinching, and infectiously inflected with the trappings of teendom, including the magazine quizzes that help her make sense of her life. At its heart, the tale she weaves is A. A vivid portrait of an extended family, B. A moving story about sisterhood, C. A playful ode to the 80s, D. A murder mystery of sorts, and E. An unexpected and unwaveringly powerful meditation of history and language, trauma and healing, and the meaning of independence. Or maybe it's really F, all of the above. I am very intrigued to read this one. Next up, we have The Temptation of Charlotte North by Camilla Bruce. This book was recommended to me by somebody that watches the channel. I want to say it was Patty. Patty, I'm sorry if it wasn't you, but I think it was you. I think you recommended this. I think you said you need to read this. I saw it at the library, so I grabbed it. Did I know what it was about? No. All right, so let me tell y'all a little bit about it. It's a dark gothic fantasy. There's a rebellious young woman who is desperate to escape her predetermined life, the handsome but married priest who has caught her eye, and the resolute schoolteacher who values science above all. In 1910, on a small remote island that boasts more sheep than people, the fates of Charlotte North, Jasper Hill, and Ruth Russell are perched on the edge of a cliff. And a strange wind is blowing. When an ancient tower, rumored to have once imprisoned a witch, crumbles, it releases something powerful. A restless spirit that knocks inside the walls and sends household objects flying. A spirit that seems to be drawn to Charlotte, who sees it as a potential for power and change. Well, first, she must overcome Jasper's piety and Ruth's fierce determination to banish the terrifying entity. Only then will she gain the power to claim the life that she desires. And yeah, The Temptation of Charlotte North. It sounds right up my alley. It sounds witchy and weird, and it's on an island. Excited to get into this one. All right, so out of all of these, what am I most excited for? I think I'm honestly kind of excited for that Temptation of Charlotte North. That sounds really interesting. I do like dark fantasy quite a bit, and I love witchy books, so excited to check that one out. What have you been reading recently? Let me know. I am always curious. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.